Hello guys, we are the group 1 and I am the leader of the group. My name is Aldrin Burgos, and the topic that we are going to tackle right now it's all about is strategic management. And strategic management is the process of setting goals, procedures, and objectives in order to make a company or organization more competitive. Typically, strategic management looks at effectively deploying staff and resources to achieve these goals. Often, strategic management includes strategy evaluation, internal organization analysis, and strategy execution throughout the company. An example of that is like I consider a large company that wants to achieve more ambitious online sales rate. To meet these goals, the company will develop a strategy and communicate this strategy, apply it across various units and departments in the organization, and integrate this with employee goals and execute accordingly. If an effective strategy is applied, ideally, it will help the company achieve its targets through a single and coordinated process.
The Greek verb strategos means army leader, and the idea of stratego, from which we get the word strategy, refers to the idea of destroying one's enemies through the effective use of resources. Strategic management has a long history going back thousands of years. Understanding the past can provide valuable strategic insights and strategy that we can use in the present. In this section, I will discuss some of the strategy used in ancient times, military strategy, and some of the modern history of strategic management. First is the strategy in ancient times. The earliest known discussion of strategy is offered in the Old Testament of the Bible approximately 3,500 years ago. In 1491 BC, Moses uses hierarchical delegation of authority during the Exodus from Egypt. Dividing a large set of people into smaller groups creates a command structure that enables strategies to be implemented. Today, we can relate this strategy to the position of the CEO of the company. The CEO will designate the task to his employees and he will focus on deciding on the biggest decisions. In 500 BC, Sun Tzu, his Art of War, provides a classic handbook of military strategy. To win without fighting is the best. We can relate this to the behavior of Apple. They prefer to develop unique features rather than fighting a battle with other firms. Apple wins by creating its own uniqueness in the market and by attracting their own set of customers. In military strategy, in the year 1532, The Prince, written by Niccolo Machiavelli, is a 500 years old book, which is a book written based on the lessons of the history and with his own experience. It is still considered by many as a guide for the strategy for conquering, acquiring power, and ruling territories. In 1775, the American Revolutionary War between the United States and Great Britain begins, whereas the U.S. uses the strategic alliance to win the battle with Great Britain. Strategic alliance today is when two companies come together to have a mutual beneficial project while each retains its independency. Some modern history of strategic management. In 1911, Frederick W. Taylor publishes the Principles of Scientific Management that had led to the development of strategic management. In 1980, the Strategic Management Journal is created. Because of the journal, many other fields have opened their minds and get interested in building their own knowledge about strategic management. In 1995, the launch of Amazon.com by founder Jeff Bezos is perhaps the pivotal event in creating internet-based commerce. When the internet opened in 1991, Amazon was one of the first e-commerce sites in the US to start selling products online.
So I am assigned to discuss more about contemporary critique of strategic management. But let us define first what is contemporary critique. So contemporary meaning is belonging or occurring in the present. So in short, it means the present. Critique a detailed analysis and assessment of something, especially a literary philosophical, or political theory. So what is contemporary critique of strategic management? So the field of strategic management has always had its critics, and as with any academics discipline, the criticism has challenged the field to adapt and improve over time. The kinds of concerns about strategic management differ depending upon who is voicing them. From the perspective of firm managers or executives, commonly expressed concerns target the high levels of investment required in order to get more benefit than cost from an effective strategic management process. For strategic management to be done well, it is typically a complex process that is high in cost, time, and difficulty, from Cameron 2019 and Katsanos 2019. Further, some decision makers are skeptical of the ability of strategic management to achieve its goal to accurately anticipate an unknown future. Some critics go so far as to suggest that committing to a strategy may limit a firm's ability to respond to a changing environment when companies make future decisions on obsolete data, from Cameron 2019. In the opening paragraph of Michael Rayner's best-selling book, The Strategy Paradox, he says, most strategies are built on specific beliefs about the future. Unfortunately, the future is deeply unpredictable, whereas the requirements of breakthrough success demand implementing strategy in ways that make it impossible to adapt should the future not turn out as expected. The result is the strategy paradox. Strategies with the greatest possibility of success also have the greatest possibility of failure. 2007. It is evident that there are plenty of reasons to think critically about how a firm's decision makers choose to engage in their strategic management processes. Ultimately, responsibility for determining a firm's strategic approach is left to the discretion of the firm's executive team.
For the last topic, I'm going to talk about understanding strategic management process. Let's define first what is strategic management. Strategic management is the procedure where an organization sets goals and objectives and start planning and implementing the planning which helps to achieve these goals and objectives. To make strategic management tangible, it is helpful to apply a structured strategic management process. Strategic management process means defining the organization's strategy. It is also defined as the process by which managers make a choice of a set of strategies for the organization that will enable to achieve the better performance. Strategic management process has following 4 steps. First, environmental scanning. It refers to a process of collecting, scrutinizing, and providing information for strategic purposes. It helps in analyzing the internal and external factors influencing an organization. At this stage, SWOT analysis is performed to contrast the internal assets and flaws of the trade with the external prospect and dangers. Analysis of internal environment helps in identifying strengths and weaknesses of an organization, while the analysis of external environment reveals the opportunities and threats for an organization. Second step, strategy formulation. This is the generation of long-term plans for the proper management of environmental openings and fears considering the force and faintness of the business or the company. It consists of defining the mission, attainable objectives, forming strategies, and setting policies. Third step, strategy implementation. It is taking action in order to attain the goals of the organization. It requires organizing all the available and necessary resources to put strategy into action. So here, the higher management will pass the strategy to the managers and they will communicate the roles and responsibilities of their team members to implement the strategy. There are contributions of different members of different departments in the implementation of a strategy. For the last step, Strategy evaluation. It requires an evaluation of the strategy to ascertain whether the actual outcome matches the expected outcome of the organizational goals. At this stage, the organization decides which area of planning should be evaluated and the method of evaluation to be used, and after the evaluation, makes a comparison between the expected result and the existing result. Through this evaluation, the company can decide to take different corrective actions to control the shortcomings, if any, and help the strategy to meet the desired organizational goals and objectives. And that's all the 4 steps of strategic management process.